So Kanye West gave a long stream of consciousness talk in the White House recently and was roundly attacked for it. But if you listen carefully, there were some insightful points that he made and some important questions, including whether black Americans ought to be monolithically loyal to the Democratic Party. Why should they be? That's a question other people are asking as well. Star Parker is one of them. She's founder and president of the Center for Urban Renewal and Education. She just wrote a piece suggesting that as the Democrats have moved left on religion and social policy, even the rule of law itself, they could continue to alienate some conservative-minded black voters. Star Parker joins us tonight. Star Parker, thank you very much for coming on.
You're welcome.
So the most simple question first, why should African Americans who for generations have been very loyal to the Democratic Party rethink that loyalty?
Well, they've been loyal to the Democratic Party because blacks have bought this idea of activist government. But something very exciting is happening now with Trump in office. The Trump administration is focusing on urban communities and initiatives. So we have two things happening right now that are very, very exciting. Number one, the African-American millennials, those that Kanye West are motivated, those that Candace Owen are motivated to say, wait a minute, what have Democrats done for us? First of all, the millennial does not buy this racism behind every rock narrative of the Democrat Party because their friends are diverse. They've grown up in a society post-civil rights era. So they don't know that world at all. But secondly, they're individualists. They like uniqueness. We can see that in the tattoos that they wear. And so this whole idea of collectivism and big government doesn't work for them as well. But what's also happened is you have that baby boom black. The baby boom black is more traditional in their worldview. So now the Democrat Party has become so extreme to the left, so progressive, that it's conflicting with that baby boom black's worldview and values. And they're concerned about their grandchildren and what they're learning in school. So we'll see how it all plays out. We're looking very closely. Our group is looking very closely at Wisconsin, at Michigan, when we're talking about the Senate seats, when we're talking about the governor's seats. We should all be looking at Georgia. We should look at Florida, and then even to some degree Maryland. So I'm very excited about the momentum.
So if you're an African-American voter and your family's been in this country for 400 years, a long time in a lot of cases, and all of a sudden your party is telling you that the real concern is people who aren't even here legally, foreign nationals from other countries, do you ask yourself at some point, but what about me, the American citizen?
Right.
Does that turn off voters at a certain point?
It's not only turning them off that this hijacking of the civil rights movement is taking place for legal minorities, but illegals are even more frustrating because now you're looking at an environment to where you have that low-wage worker competing for jobs in communities and against people who will not speak English. So now it's not only affecting the real low wage, it's affecting the middle class, because if you want to work in any type of public service, for the fire, for the police, for the teachers, anything, you have to be bilingual. And this is making a tremendous impact on African Americans to rethink who these new arrivals are and why they
I think it's a totally fair question. I never even thought about the bilingual question, but it's a real one.
It's horrible. It's like you can't even, in California, for instance, you can take the driver's license test in 40 languages.
But so why, I never hear Maxine Waters or any member of the CBC mention that. Why?
Because they're very invested in progressivism. It's their job to make sure blacks do not get any of this information. The whole Congressional Black Caucus is similar to the overseer during slavery. They had to make sure that no slave gets any information of freedom, and that's been their role for the last 50 years. What's happening now with the internet is people are getting more information. In fact, even my organization, Urban Cure, we have our own news site, blackcommunitynews.com, so people are getting other sources of news, and they're finding out the truth. What President Trump has said lately about fake news is very real. So there are many instruments now competing against that, the mainstream media, so that we can get other information, and blacks are hearing those messages.
Star Parker, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.